All right, afternoon, evening, all of that. Good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Hope and trust that you had a good day. Can you all hear me? Say something, y'all talking to me, y'all ain't talking to me. All right, please, if you're on Facebook, I need you to like and share. Don't just watch it. Please, ma'am, please, sir, please hit the share button. Don't just watch it, please, if you can. If you would be so kind as to hit the share button, please share it. Tag people in this live stream. Welcome to you, those of you who are viewing via Facebook Live, and to those of you who are watching via YouTube Live. This is our first YouTube Live Bible study. We started this on Sunday, so thank you all for subscribing to the WHA Ministries page. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing with family and friends. I appreciate you. And again, to those of you who are on Facebook Live, please, ma'am, please, sir, like and share. Again, I hope and trust that all is well with you. To our church family, keep Sister Alice Limbrick and her family in your prayers, along with Pastor Alan Randall. Sister Limbrick lost her sister last week, and that is also Pastor Alan Randall's mom. So please keep that family in prayer as well. And also the Hilliard family, Sister Whitetress, I think her name is, Pastor Bridget Hilliard's sister, also passed away on Sunday. So keep them in your prayer as well. Those families in this church are interconnected, so we want to cover all those who are bereaved and going through turbulent times. Life is just different now, so let's just keep each other in prayer. All right, Matthew chapter 1, verse number 23. I'm taking it right back, fast forwarding, rather. We just got through Easter, but I'll explain to you why I'm going to this particular text in a few minutes. Matthew chapter 1, verse number 23. Now, Lord, bless and breathe on our time together. We love you because you first loved us. It's in your name we do pray. Jesus the Christ our Lord. Amen. I know we just got through Easter, but again, I'll tell you why this text leaped in my heart after I read it. Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Amen. God is with us. God is with us. As you well know, life has changed and church has changed as a result of COVID-19. And so my usual hour and 45-minute worship service is now 45 minutes in totality, in total. And so when I get through preaching and I change clothes, I normally just sit in my office and talk to a few people before leaving. Usually when I have time, I just kind of check and read the comments under the live stream after we get through streaming. I normally read, sometimes I reply. So many, thank you all for watching on Sunday and sharing, by the way, thank you for that. But this particular Sunday, this past Sunday, I think it was, I was reading the comments under the live stream from worship this past Sunday. And a member of our church was saying how she missed coming to church and how she missed singing the members of the church. And she made the comment and she said, I feel so lonely. Are y'all sharing this? Please share this. This is going to help somebody tonight. Please just don't watch. Please share. A member of the church, I was reading the comments under the live stream from worship Sunday, and a member of our church was just lamenting about how she missed being in fellowship, how she missed being in worship, and she said, in essence, I feel lonely. I feel lonely. And when I read that, I thought about how many more people in the world, in the church, who are constantly perhaps around people, but you still feel lonely. And I want to help you because there is a difference between being lonely and being alone. Even when you're lonely and you feel that you're lonely, I want to help you that even though you may feel lonely, that you are not alone. Because in John chapter 14, Jesus says, I'm leaving you, but I'm going to send a comforter. Not just to make you shout or to make you dance or to make you emotional, He's going to teach you. He's going to bring back things to your remembrance, and he's going to be near you. He's going to be around you. He's also going to be inside of you. And so even when you feel lonely and you feel as if you're all by yourself, I need you to shout, because you may be lonely, but if you have God's power and God's presence, then you're never alone. That God is with you. You're never by yourself, because of the power and the presence of He who is God. And so I thought about that one of the worst feelings in the world, I think it is to be in a room full of people and still feel all by yourself. And I know that might be a sensitive topic or subject, to feel lonely in a house that's occupied with humans and warm bodies, and yet you still feel lonely. To lay in bed with someone all night, and yet you still feel lonely. To be in a house full of children and relatives and siblings and parents and friends and coworkers, or at the job with coworkers, and yet you still feel as if you're in this world all by yourself. It's a horrible feeling, and I think all of us probably have been there at least once or twice in our lives. Pastors who pastor people and lead churches and pray and preach and marry and bury and bless babies, and yet you still feel all by yourself. Pastors are probably some of the most loneliest people in the world, because only when the pastor will understand our plight and our burdens of navigating through pastoral waters, especially in these times. And yet, sometimes your church is full of people, and you preached a good sermon, but yet when you leave this pulpit, you feel as if you are all by yourself. Because I've discovered that there are some things that money and resumes and clout and class and living behind a gate and wearing certain designer clothes and Tom Ford and whatever the case may be, the Gucci, the Prada, custom dresses and suits and red bottoms, those things simply pacify your loneliness. They cover your loneliness, rather. And you look good and you glide, you smooth, but you're lonely. And there are a lot of lonely people in the world, and I might be talking to a few tonight via social media. And when I read her comment that she felt alone, lonely, I think she said she felt lonely or alone, either one. As a pastor, that bothered me. I prayed for her. But I said, how many people in the world who come to church and who watch all of these social media streams, who literally feel all by themselves? And again, it's one thing to be in a house and feel lonely, an empty house and feel lonely, but when you have people around you, in the words of Dr. Ralph West, you feel as if you are locked in a room and the door is wide open. And I know most of you probably won't even be honest enough to say you feel lonely like that, because we're so used to hiding how we feel, hiding our struggles, hiding our our dysfunction, and so we beat the face, and we put the hair, the unit, the weave, and we dress it all up, and we wear the G's and P's and the red bottoms, and we have the titles, and yet beyond all of that, you're like a kid who can't find their parents at the mall. And when I thought about that, my mind fell to Matthew chapter 1, verse 23. When this angel tells Mary, listen, you're going to get pregnant and you're going to bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel. God who is with us. Now, I understand that even though you're spiritual, sometimes you need human touch. You may understand that God is with you, but sometimes you still need human touch, a hug, a handshake, a conversation with humanity, someone who is human. We all need a hug, a handshake. We all need that. None of us are exempt from that. But I want you to know on a deeper and higher level that God shows us, even though you need human touch and you need to feel loved by humanity, you need that hug and you need that handshake and you need that honest, caring concern. How are you? You need that. You long for that. You long to be in the presence of someone who wants you around them, and you need that. It makes you feel wanted and loved and needed. I understand you need that, but on a deeper level, on a higher level, God is also showing you that people can be around you, and yet there is a void in your life that human touch and human hugging and handshaking and human interaction cannot feel. And so scripture gives us hope to say that even when you feel lonely, scripture says that today you need to shout, because you might be lonely, but you ain't alone. And pardon me for saying ain't. I know some of you are English majors, and you're not by yourself. You aren't alone. And so I just kind of perused scripture and just found 3 instances where I think it'll help you understand that God is with you in some strange moments. And even in this pandemic of COVID-19, God is with us. Even in the midst of you losing loved ones and not being able to celebrate their lives like you should because of COVID-19, 30 minutes, 10 people, graveside service, and you can't celebrate your loved ones, and you can't have repasts and see people who you love and hold dear because of this disease. God is still with us. Even when I had a member text today and said that they were cutting her hours at work, and I told her I'm praying for you, but even in the midst of that, God is with us. And so again, I went through scripture, and I wanted to find 3 instances that I hope will help you understand that all of us understand that even when times are tough and rough, that when we can't see Him, and even when we can't feel Him, He's there. Remember that footprint in the sand poem that came out years ago? I was a lad, I was a young lad. And that fellow walking on the beach, and there were 2 sets of footprints in the sand. It was his and it was God's. And they walked along the beach and he saw God's footprints. But one day, God's footprints disappeared and he kept on walking and he got angry because he thought God had abandoned him and forsaken him. And he challenged God. And it simply says, in essence, when life got rough and life got tough, you walk with me through the good times, and yet when I needed you the most, I only saw my footprints. Where were you? And God said, in essence, you only saw one set of footprints because during your roughest moments, you didn't even see your own footprints. You saw mine because it was me who was carrying you. And God says tonight, don't base my love and my faithfulness on how you feel. Base it upon what you know. Don't come telling me how you feel. You feel I ain't here. You feel I ain't present. You feel I ain't been there for you. God said, no, don't do me. I ain't your husband. I ain't your boo. I ain't your babe. I ain't the Negro you married with. I ain't your children. You don't base your feelings for me on how you feel. You base your love for me on what you know. And you base your love for me, not if you can feel, because feelings are fickle and they're funny. And folk and you can't base this on how you feel. You have to base your trust in God on what you know, not how you feel, because the devil sometimes will make you get in your feelings. But when you only see that one set of footprints in the sand, you need to base it on what you know. And let me ask you a question, and I really want you to answer the question in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Has God ever let you down? Now, true enough, maybe he didn't answer the prayer the way you thought that he should have, but he never let you down. Because the answer that you wanted would have caused you detriment. And just because the lights got cut off don't mean God let you down. Because the car got repossessed don't mean God let you down. Because none of this stuff always works the way we think it ought to work. But Paul says that even in the good and the bad, Paul says all things work together for good. To them that love the Lord. Yeah, all things. You know, I'm sure most of you, I'm sure most of you like to eat. Being from the South, especially Louisiana, I ain't one of them folks who talk about you only supposed to eat gumbo when it's cold. You don't only eat chicken when it's cold. You know, my child, what you cooking gumbo for? It ain't cold. What? You don't eat fried fish only when it's cold. You eat it's hot. So you just eat it. You cook it, you want it, you just eat it. But here it is. Shrimp are good. Chicken wings are good. Sausage is good. Crabs are good. They're all good, separate and single. But there's something about when you put them all together in that pot, in that roux, not that roux, the good roux, the good brown roux, yeah, that you can't see through. When you put that stuff in the pot, and it all boils together, although they taste good by themselves, it's something about when you put it in the pot together, the shrimp, the sausage, the crab, the chicken, and you put the proper seasoning in it. Southern seasoning, not that East Coast stuff, Southern seasoning. And yet all those shrimp and chicken and crabs taste better, taste good separately when you put them in a gumbo pot and they cook together. makes for a fine meal. Paul says, like that food, good times and bad times, troubles and tribulations and mountains and valleys, when you put them together, they develop you and grow you, and then you can say all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and to those who are called according to his purpose. But again, I want to help you out. I'll soon get out your way. The angel told Mary, you're going to have a child, and they'll call him Emmanuel, God who is with us. And I found God with us in some strange places. I found God with us in Daniel chapter 6. It's an interesting scene. When you have time, read the whole chapter, Daniel chapter 6. But you'll find God with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when life got hot for them. They were thrown in that furnace of fire because they were disobedient to the king's mandate. They refused to bow down to pagan gods, idol gods. And so, based upon their disobedience, they're chastised and they're sentenced to death via the fiery furnace. And in Daniel chapter 6, when the king orders that those who turned the fire up 7 times hotter, they were killed. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, their hands were bound, their feet were bound, and they were thrown in. Listen, before I get to my point, I just got a revelation. All fire is not designed to kill you, but some fire is designed to set you free. I'll say it again. All fire is not designed to kill you. Some fire is designed to set you free. Because the text says, when they were thrown in the fire, their hands were tied, their feet were tied. But when the king looked in, he saw them loose and walking in the fire. So sometimes the fire God sends your way is not to kill you or destroy you, but to set you free. And sometimes God can't set you free until he throws you in some warm places. But even in the fire, when the king looked in, he raised the question, did not we, cast in 3? And those who were around there, we did. And the king says, well, looks like I see 4. And the 4th one looks like the image of God, Son of God. How many of you can testify that even in your hottest, roughest moments, he's been there? You can type it in there. Talk back to me. Don't just look at me, talk to me. In the comment, just write, he's been with me. When life got hot, and I hear the old preachers in my hometown saying that God took the heat out of the fire. And I ain't being disrespectful to the old preacher or their thinking process. But God says, I don't have to take no heat out of the fire because I am a consuming fire. Fire has never bothered God. God does not have to take heat out of the fire because God is fire. God spoke through fire to Moses. Fire has never bothered God. God does not have to dumb it down, fire, to talk to you. God says, I'm able to literally step in what you're going through and be by your side. Can you testify tonight? Be honest. Be honest. Be a witness. Be a witness. Type in there, I'm a witness. Be a witness. And when life got hot, I ain't talking about you couldn't, your money got low and you couldn't get your hair done or your feet done or your nails done. I'm talking about life got hot. I mean, you were in some serious trouble that could have altered the landscape of your life. And when you thought that you were alone and the folk who told you that they would be there for you were not there for you, the folk who you call your ride or die, your BFF, your dog, your ace boon co, and them folk, some were there, but even if they were there, they were limited in what they could do for you. God says, when you feel all by yourself and you look around, I'm right there in that fire with you. But here it is, church. He was in the fire with them, but he delivered them out of the fire. I told you, all fire is not designed to kill you. Some fire is designed to set you free. Don't miss that. When they went in the fire, their hands were bound, their feet were bound. But when the king looked in the fire, they were loose and walking around in the fire. Sometimes fire sets us free. Sometimes fire purifies us, delivers us from that which is poison, that which is detrimental to us. They were set free from the fire. But even while in the fire, they weren't harmed. So much so until their clothes didn't even smell like smoke. Their hair wasn't burned. Their skin wasn't burned. And then we love to shout about this that Negro preacher, time to say, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't look like what I've been through. Well, some of y'all do. Some of us do. Some of us look like what we've been through. That ain't the point. Some of us look like people what we've been through. That ain't the point. The point is, sometimes you won't look like what you've been through, and then sometimes you will look like what you've been through, but yet and still, God still delivers. I don't care how I look, as long as I get delivered. How I look ain't important. It's me being delivered is what's important. And sometimes folk don't look like what they've gone through. Sometimes people do look like what they've gone through. But here is the piece. All of us have different variations of our testimony and different stories. We go through different things. So no, we don't always look alike or be delivered the same. But guess what? As long as God delivers us, then that's all that's important. We get caught up in church theatrics and emotionalism. Tell your neighbor I don't look like what I've been through. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, well, that depends upon who you is. Ain't even important. What's important is they came out. In life's roughest moments and hottest moments, God looks like the Son of God. I know you about to shout all over your house and your car because I know right now you're thinking back of some stuff that you've been in that got really hot. And here it is. God is so merciful. Some of the stuff we got ourselves in that got hot, and God still covered us. God still was merciful. Type it there. Some of the fire is fire I caused. Yeah, all fire ain't fire God allowed you to go in. Some of the fire that you in is fire you caused. But even in that, God is still merciful to us. He's still gracious to us. Lest I keep you. God is with us when life gets hot, but God is also with us in times of uncertainty. When you have time, read all of Mark chapter 4. But in Mark chapter 4 in particular, and I won't go through the whole story, but Jesus and the disciples on the Sea of Galilee, and it is a storm, a tornado, and it's rough. It is one thing to be in a storm on the land, but to be in a storm on the sea has to be mind-boggling and extremely scary. And they're in this storm, and Mark said that waves are filling up the boat full of water. And I'm not sure which disciple it was, but whomever it was went to Jesus and woke him up as he was sleeping. And they woke him up and said, Master, don't you care that we are about to perish? Now, Jesus told them that they were going to cross over to the other side. They didn't know that was a fellow that Jesus had a meeting with in Gadara who was living among the tombs, possessed out of his mind. But in that storm, they wake him up and say, Master, don't you care that we are perishing, about to perish? Now, this is not for everybody because everybody can't be honest about this. I believe that every now and then, God puts you in a place to struggle with your faith. And I know many of you can't say this because it's public and you know, folk are watching and your name is in the comment section and folks see you watching. But sometimes you really can't know God until you doubt God. Because if you have never wrestled with God in rough seasons, then you might be in a class all by yourself. But for me and folk who I hang around, we've all had that battle with God. Man, where you at? I'm here because of you. I'm not out there being disobedient. I'm in this mess because someone said that the safest place in the whole wide world is in the will of God, and yet being in your will has me in a place of hurt and pain and discomfort. And you ain't doing nothing. You ain't saying nothing, God. You see me in this. You hear me talking to you. You see my pain. You see my hurt. You see my discomfort. You see my tears. You see me on my knees, on my face, lamenting before you, asking for your power and your presence. you ain't saying nothing. Because, church, there are seasons when God goes silent. And there are seasons in life when God, he ain't saying much. And I know the folk I pastor, y'all super Christians. I'm probably the biggest sinner in the whole church. But I struggle with stuff. My humanity wrestles with God. Where you at? Why you ain't talking to me? You told me to do this, and now all hell and broke loose. You told me to go there. You told me to take this assignment, and now you're gonna leave me hanging out there by myself. Moments of uncertainty. Have you had any moments of uncertainty when you just wondered what God was? God, what are you doing? Why now? Why at this moment in life? Why at this point in my life? And again, I'm only here because here it is. The disciples were only in that storm because they were following the voice of Jesus. Stop letting these folk in these pulpits and on TV lie to y'all, man. And tell you this because you do what God said do. Every door is going to open. Everything is going to be fine. As a matter of fact, probably the best way to know you are doing God's will is when resistance comes. Probably the best way to know that you're doing what God is saying you to do is the right thing is when trouble and calamity and attacks and all hell breaks loose. That's probably the best way to measure when you're doing what God says. They were in an uncertain situation because I told you they were in the midst of a tornado on the sea at night with Jesus, but he sleep. Man, that nigga sleep. He sleep. He got a fishing net up under his head. Water is beating into the ship. Lightning is flashing. The wind is blowing. Thunder is rolling. They wet, they scared, and he sleep. There are moments of uncertainty. Master, don't you care that we are about to pass? Anybody beside me ever had to wrestle with God? Where are you? Don't you see what these folk doing to me? Don't you see what these folk hear? What they saying about me? Don't you see me up there preaching my heart out and they sitting there looking at me like I'm stupid? Where you at? What you doing? Moments of uncertainty. When life seems most uncertain, that's when Jesus steps up in verse 39 of Mark chapter 4 and says, peace be still. A better rendering of that is to be muzzled. Is to be muzzled. My family and we always had a dog in the house. German Shepherds, but now it's a Doberman. And one of the German Shepherds, I remember, wasn't too social, and yet when I walked him, I put a muzzle on his mouth because he was uncertain. The Dobie I can take out walking he's only going to respond to you if he feels a threat to me or to somebody in the house. That German Shepherd is uncertain, muzzled. I have to muzzle him. And even though when he saw somebody walking by or jogging by, he wanted to, run and do something, bite, attack, whatever. But even if he did, he couldn't do anything because he was muzzled. I had him muzzled. And God said, that's what I do to Satan and to your troubles and your calamities. I literally muzzle them and tell them to sit down and shut up and don't say nothing else. That's what the peace of God does in moments of uncertainty. God says, no, that's enough. Let me tell you something, church. I don't care how rough it is and how bad it seems. Nothing lasts forever. COVID-19 will not last forever. Calamity, trouble, they always come with a start date and an expiration date. Here is the peace. Can you hold on in the moments of uncertainty until God decides to say, peace be still? Can you hold on? Can you hold on long enough for God to say, that's enough? So even in the moments of your uncertainty, God said, I'm still able to speak peace to you when you feel like as if you're all by yourself. I'm done when I tell you this. I've kept you long enough. Pardon my rambling. In the words of my hero, Bill Atchison, just a few scattered remarks. But God is also with you, finally, when your faith is tested. I'm in Mark chapter 5, and you have time to read the whole chapter. That's your homework. You read Daniel 6, Mark 4, and Mark 5 for your devotional time, if you will. Jairus has asked Jesus to come to his house and heal his sick daughter. Jesus agrees to do that, but as they're walking down the dusty roads, this unknown, unnamed woman gets in the way, makes her way through the crowd, and she touches the hem of Jesus' garment because she's sick. She's been bleeding for 12 years, and she touches his garment, and when she does that, Jesus stops. And he asks the question, who touched me? And she acknowledges and said it was her. After the disciples raised the question, Lord, what do you mean who touched you? All these folk around you, and Jesus says, well, I understand that, but I felt virtue, I felt power leave me and transfer to someone else. And that might be a word to you today too. Don't hang around church all your life and never touch Jesus. Don't be having all these titles of pastor and chairman and president and co-chairman and treasurer and secretary and assistant recording secretary and all that little foolishness. Vice president, matron. We got so many titles in the Lord's church. Don't be guilty of hanging around church all this time, man. Because the text says that they were thronging him. They were touching him. They were thronging him. But the only fellow, or the only person rather, who received the power from him in her touch was a bleeding woman. Yeah. Oh, but I ain't talking about her. I'm talking about Jairus. Did y'all forget his daughter was still sick? He got to Jesus first. And Jesus stops and converses with the woman who was healed of her issue as if he has forgotten that his purpose was to make it to the home of Jairus because his daughter was sick. And after he converses with this woman who is now healed of her issue, they take up walking again. And as they are walking, one of the servants from the house of Jairus says to Jairus, listen, don't trouble the master any more because your daughter is dead. Now I know y'all on this feed here, y'all saved, sanctified, and the Holy Ghost. But now I probably would have been a little bit ticked off with the Lord. Because I got to you in time, asked you to come to my house, you agreed, but now you're going to stop and converse with someone who didn't even ask you for the blessing. You stopped, you talked to her. I told you my child is sick, she's dying, but no, you want to stop and talk to her, and now look at this. My child, my daughter, 12 years old, is now dead because you wasted time on her when she didn't even ask you for a blessing. I asked you first. Now I had to sit here and watch you bless her. And now, after I've watched you bless her and talk to her, my heart has sunk because my daughter is dead. But Jesus, when the servant was telling him that his daughter was dead, Jesus, pardon my urban vernacular, was ear hustling. He heard what the servant said. The servant said, listen here, your daughter is dead. Don't you trouble the master anymore. And Jesus looks at Jairus and says, 2 words. Only believe. You need to know, church, that there are moments in life where the testing of your faith will come to fruition. The testing of your faith will come to pass, and you can't shout away from it, you can't pray away from it, you can't dance and be delivered. No, there will come a day at a time with your name on it, where all this Bible study and daily bread and devotional and prayer calls and sermons you preaching and you singing all these songs. There's gonna come a time when the rubber gonna have to meet the road and God's gonna say, let me see, is there any weight, any validity to all this stuff you're doing, all these quotes you're putting on Facebook. And so they get to the house. And when they get there, and I'm done, professional mourners are there, lamenting and crying. And Jesus walks in the words of Delwyn Earl Benton, cool, calm, and sagacious. And asked the question, what y'all crying for? And they said, she's dead. And Jesus says, no, she ain't dead, she just asleep. And they went from lamenting and crying to laughing in his face. And Jesus is the only fellow I know who walk in front of the man's house and put folk out. He put y'all out of here. is already done with faith. And that might be a word to you too. Might be time to put some folk out who don't have the same faith that you have to help you get what God is trying to get you to go to. He takes Peter, James, and John, her mother and her father, and he simply says to her, daughter, get up. Now here is the shout of the tension that's in this text. Jesus only could do what he did because Jairus believed. You know, Jesus left home because the folk in his hometown didn't believe. He didn't do any miracles there because they didn't believe he could do anything. And because they didn't believe he could do anything, guess what, church? He didn't do anything. Could it be that your miracle is right there, but you believe more of what you hear and what you see than what you know about God? The messenger told Jairus, she's dead. She's dead. Don't trouble the master anymore. And Jesus ear hustles and says, only believe. Don't ignore what he says. Because he is your messenger, but I am the message. Yeah. He is your messenger, but I am the message. And the message I got for you is only believe. If you believe, I can do it, and I'm done. But tonight, if you're feeling lonely, know that God is with you even when life gets hot, even in moments of uncertainty, and even when your faith is being tested. I know what doctors say. I know all of that. I hear what you hear about COVID. Only believe. I don't know what your finances look like. Only believe. I don't know what your physician has possibly told you. Only believe. I have no clue what your children are doing or what they're into that's keeping you up all night. Been there. Only believe. Don't know what church gonna look like when we get through this COVID thing. Only believe. This lesson tonight was for those of you who feel that you're all by yourself. And in 3 separate stories, God shows us in his word that he is with us in Daniel 6 when life gets hot. He is with us in Mark chapter 4 when life seems uncertain. Master, don't you care that we're about to perish? And in Mark 5, he is with us through the life of Jairus when our faith is tested. The messenger says, she's dead. Don't trouble the master anymore. And Jesus says, that's your messenger, but I'm the message. Only believe. And because Jairus had the gall to believe in spite of what he heard the messenger say, Jesus went to his house and told his dead, deceased, pulseless daughter, get up. And when she got up, Jesus said, y'all go ahead and feed her. I pray tonight, and I'm done, that if you're lonely, and feeling all by yourself. Tonight, you now know that Emmanuel, God with us, is with you in the hottest, most uncertain, and even the days of testing. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Didn't mean to talk this long, but that thing kind of got good to me. So y'all please forgive me. I beg your pardon. Thank you for watching. Share the video, like the video, tag a friend, a family member, a co-worker who needs to hear what God said tonight. Yeah. The Lord bless you and the Lord keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he give you peace. I bless your homes. I bless your families. I bless your health. I bless your wealth. If you're having a hard time, press on, pray on, knowing one thing. If my members know this, trouble won't last always. God bless you. Have a good week. All right, again, we're praying for Sister Alex Lindbergh and her family during the loss of her sister and our friend and our brother, Pastor Alan Quincy Randall. And keep the faith. All right? Share this. Bye-bye. All right.